All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited that you are here with me. I have such a special guest with me. We've known each other for over 10 years. We met in college. Hey, Maia. Mwah. Hey. She is the owner of Becoming Well Together, but she's much more than that in my life. She's my best friend. She's actually the godmommy of my baby girl,
My
Raisin.
baby wavy.
Yes, girl. And she has been so good to me as a friend, but also on this health journey. I have PCOS and endometriosis. Now, Maria doesn't have anything that's diagnosable in terms of hormonal disorders, but she has been a wealth of knowledge to me, and I'm just so excited to have her on this episode today. So, one of the reasons why I wanted her to be on here is because she is the only woman that I know who does something called cycle syncing. You're probably like, what the heck is that? But we're going to get into it. But it's been so transformational in her life and the way she eats and moves her body. And she told me about it when I was trying to get pregnant. And I was just so focused on getting pregnant. I wasn't even like digesting this good information. So now that I'm postpartum, Maia was like, remember cycle syncing? And I'm like, oh, heck yeah. So I'm just so excited that we're going to be talking about this today. But I'm going to let Maia give a little introduction for herself. And yeah, so you can get started.
Thank you, Meredith, for that introduction. You warm my heart. Hello, everybody. My name is Maia. I am a wife, a mother, a holistic health coach, and the owner of Becoming Well Together. And Becoming Well Together is a wellness practice that focuses on supporting moms during their health journey. The three pillars of my organization are eat, move, feel. So basically, I teach eating more whole foods, foods that are in its natural state. Move, just enjoying fun movement. I don't believe that exercises should be stressful and always high intensity, always going to the gym. And lastly, feel, just incorporating mindful practices for our emotional and mental health. I know, a lot of people are doing more reading and learning about emotional and mental health right now. But this is something that, we always have to be concerned about. We always have to be aware of as women, as moms, as humans.
Oh, heck yeah. I remember after giving birth, you actually gave me the best postpartum gift. That was a Hello Fresh box because, coming home, I'm overwhelmed with the baby. And honest to God, we were just ordering out like too much. And yes, I was eating, my breast milk supply wasn't being affected, but me and the baby were not getting high quality nutrition. So I'm so grateful for your practice and what you're doing with these women. And speaking of food, what is your favorite meal, Maia?
I have two favorites. One of my favorites is a chickpea curry that I like to make during, and later we'll talk about the phases, during my luteal phase. It's just such a warm, comforting, satisfying meal. It has like sweet potatoes, and I hope I'm not making y'all hungry, but it's sweet potatoes, carrots, chickpeas. It has a coconut milk base, so it's so creamy, and a little spice to it because it does have curry. That's one of my favorites. And my other favorite is something I kind of tried last month, and I'm not a big salad person. Like sometimes I'll buy ingredients for salads and then sometimes they go to waste. But this one, a quinoa salad, it's warm. I love warm food. I don't like cold food too much, but quinoa, it has cucumbers, radish, and chickpeas in it. This is another luteal meal dish that I like. And I usually meal prep that for the week, and I usually have it for my lunch, and it's just so easy, and it's, again, filling, and so flavorful. It has a apple cider vinegar, lemon, and olive oil kind of dressing, so pretty good.
That sounds so yummy. I am not like you at this point in my life. I'm gonna be like you one day. But my favorite foods are like all fried and greasy, which is like not good for anyone, but definitely not good.
They're good in the moment. It's
Yes.
just, you
Yes.
just got to think about
Yes.
how is this going to make me feel tomorrow or even
Exactly.
later.
Right. Yeah. Because sometimes it could be like immediate, like, oh, all right, Charlie, can you wash the baby? Because
I
I
got
got
to go
to
to the
make a run
bathroom.
real quick. It's so true. It's so
Mm-hmm.
bad. So just now you were talking about your favorite meals and you were talking about luteal and like
Yes.
what the heck. So it's so crazy for me because when I was on my journey to get pregnant, like I just knew of one phase of our cycle and that was a menstrual cycle, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you bleed, that means you can't get pregnant because you're releasing that egg, and that's all I knew, which is like so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us about cycle syncing. What is it? How has it benefited you?
So, a lot of us, and because, we haven't had that education or that training, a lot of us just only think about our periods as, oh, I'm on my period, I'm off. So just two basic,
Yep.
phases. And that's all I thought too. And it wasn't until I started, because I do have a daughter, she's 3, until we started trying to conceive. And that's when I started doing more research about, the different cycles. But of course, I wasn't like, okay, so there's another cycle,
Right,
ovulation.
right.
Now I need to know about this one.
Right. Then we have two. That's it.
Now we have 2. But in between those 2, there are 2 more. So, the cycle day, day 0, day 1 starts with your bleed. So this is when you release. And if you notice at this time, this is when your energy is pretty low. You're more introspected. You think, you're doing a lot of reflecting. Warm foods are good at this time. Sometimes if you have cramps, the warm foods will soothe and help, like stews and soups.
Right.
And after this phase, your hormones start to, so you have your progesterone and estrogen and I don't know why I call it fish. It's FH.
Oh, yeah.
I call it fish. I don't know.
That's the right.
The follicular hormone
Mm-hmm.
and a luteinizing hormone. So all these different hormones we have in our bodies, and the 2 main ones, the progesterone and the estrogen, are elevating as you go throughout your cycle. So moving into the follicular is, you're getting a little more energy back. It's not heightened yet, but you are feeling a little more energetic. You want to move a little bit more. It's getting to be a little lighter, so you might not do heavy soups or stews or anything like that. You might want maybe salads, maybe sauteed kind of dishes, and I'll come back to exercise once I explain each one.
Okay, perfect.
And after we are in follicular, then we move into ovulatory. So this is where your hormones are heightened. So you may feel the most energetic.
Right.
If you are, I'm an introvert. So somebody like me, I like to plan different activities like this interview right around my ovulatory phase, just because that's when I feel the most social. I feel
crazy.
The best, like I can communicate my best during this time. And you have the most energy. I think I mentioned that. And this is where you eat the lightest food, like salads, more raw veggies. If you like, I mean, you can eat whatever you want to eat. I don't eat a lot of raw. I do more smoothies only as breakfast. So usually I'll do like oats in a smoothie or millet in a smoothie. But this time, because your metabolism is slower, I just do like a smoothie for breakfast. That's my raw for the day.
Right.
Maybe a salad. And then, you're kind of at your peak at ovulatory. And then once luteal comes, the first week of luteal, depending on how long your cycle is, you still have a lot of energy. And then moving into the second week, those levels your hormone levels start to decrease, and as well as your energy. A lot of times we notice our PMS symptoms, so maybe like mood swings, an increase in appetite, maybe even cramps, headaches, fatigue, a lot of these things. And this is where being aware of your cycle And cycle syncing is so beneficial because the foods that you eat can combat a lot of those symptoms. So for myself, sometimes I can get a little moody, and I notice it's because, well, prior to me cycle syncing, I wasn't aware that, my metabolism changes throughout the month. So if, I'm used to eating, either X amount of veggies or X amount of calories, or however you want to think about it, but just eating a certain amount of food, and then moving into my luteal phase, and I'm so much hungrier, I'm kind of like shaming myself, like, girl, you're so greedy right now. Exactly. But just being aware that, no, Maia, your metabolism has increased. It's okay to have more of this, or, subbing in sweet potatoes and more rice and good things like that, that keeps, our blood sugar level. Because if, we're not planning for those things, then of course we're going to reach for the next closest thing, which is not always the best choice.
Right, exactly. And this is like so eye-opening for me, because I look at my husband, and all men, but I look at my husband, and he is living in a 24-hour type of cycle where in the morning his testosterone is high, and throughout the day it lowers.
Yeah.
And so he should be doing like his high energy, all of his stuff in the morning, because over the day it replenishes.
Yeah.
Well, looking at me, like, and I will say again, I'm postpartum. I don't have my menstrual cycle. I'm at my cycle yet. But as women, during our reproductive years, our cycle is not like that. We live in the 28-day-ish cycle. So we cannot eat and compare ourselves to the men in our lives. It just does not work. It doesn't work with our health, with losing weight, with gaining weight, with our stress. But, it's just something that is so eye-opening to me.
Yeah, and a lot of times, because there's not so much research on this, or if women are doing research on like the next diet or the next exercise plan, most studies are done on men or menopausal women. So women who no longer have their cycles anymore. And that was another thing I noticed prior to, so I started cycle syncing with my foods, and then I did my movement. And last year when I joined my gym, waking up, and I want to think back and believe that I probably joined the gym during my follicular time. I think because that's when I just had the most energy. I committed to waking up, getting to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, being there for an hour and coming home and getting ready for work. And then, feeling so great about it. This is something new. I'm being dedicated. I'm keeping promises to myself. And then a couple weeks went by, and I just didn't have the energy to do it. And again, not being aware.
It's just your hormones are changing.
Not being aware. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why can't I do this?
Right.
And, I referred back to a book that kind of started this whole journey. Is called Woman Code by Elisa Vitti, and just referred back to it. And in the first book, she actually doesn't talk a lot about movement. It's mostly the science behind cycle syncing and what she calls the flow protocol. So it wasn't until her second book that came out, I think later on that year, because it was released in November, later on that year, where I finally had the idea of getting my workouts in order, thinking about the way I move my body, and keeping that in line with my energy levels and things like that. So that was definitely crucial, being aware that, you can't push yourself every day. It's not necessary to push yourself every day to see results.
Yeah, and let's talk about exercise, because I feel like in our society, across the board, it's all about hustle, go hard, go home. If you're not sweating in the gym, you gotta bounce.
Doesn't hurt tomorrow. Did you even do anything?
Hello, right? You have to feel sore. If you feel sore, that means you did a good job. And you're not sweating, you really have to push yourself. But what I'm learning from you and these resources is that, especially women with PCOS and endometriosis, like we may be living, our body may be already inflamed. And so
Mm-hmm.
if we're going hard and we're sweating and we're pushing our bodies, we're putting stress on ourselves. And you may not feel stressed because you're like, oh, I feel good after a
Right.
workout. But internally, your body is like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what type of exercises do you do throughout your phases um, to help you to get your cycle syncing?
So in the beginning, in the menstrual phase where my energy is pretty low, um, the first day or two, I may or may not walk. It really depends on how I feel, but most of the time, I might go for like a 30-minute walk, and this is literally a walk, not a jog, not
Mm-hmm.
anything intense, just because even though if you do experience cramps, movement definitely helps. It keeps, blood flowing, it
Right.
helps, your uterus contract and get all, what needs to come out, released. And then by day 3 or so, I'm doing like very light yoga, yin yoga. Um, and I'll probably, do about yoga. And then until I get to my follicular, where I'm doing more dance, cardio. I do a lot of strength training, and Pilates, but still kind of more, of course, more intense than walking and yin yoga, but not high intensity. I actually don't do a lot of high intensity at all. That's just
Okay.
not my personality. I like to be more in tune with what my body's doing. And not that you can't get that with high intensity, I just feel like it's just rushed. Like
Mm.
I want to be aware of what my body's doing. I want to take the time to feel, just muscles contracting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about it. That's just not my personality. However, in the ovulatory phase, that's when you can do more of your high intensity exercises. I think the only high intensity exercise I do is like cardio dance.
Yeah.
Because I love the dance. I'm not for all the jumping and I can't.
The burpees.
You can give me a couple burpees, but I'm not about to do, a whole 30 minutes of burpees.
Oh,
Um,
heck no.
and then after ovulatory and my luteal, like I said before, your first week of luteal can feel a little like your ovulatory. So you still have a lot of high
Mm.
energy. Strength training is best at this time because you do have more, women do have testosterone. So we do have a bit more testosterone at this time that helps with, our strength. So resistance training, if you like weights or even body weight, and if you like to go to the gym, then of course this is a good time to
Of
use,
course. Right.
more gym equipment. If people feel comfortable going to the gym right now during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then moving into the last part of the luteal, I do more vinyasa yoga, so a little faster flow of yoga. I do Pilates at this time too, and I might do lighter dance, not so much high intensity dance. Um, excuse me. And it's important to note too, the length of time
Oh,
that you exercise, just because people, the amount, I believe it's 150 minutes a week that everybody recommends.
okay.
And if you break that down, then 150 minutes of moderate activity, which, get your blood pumping
Right.
and, your heart racing a little bit, not out of breath, but, trying to have a conversation kind of.
Yeah.
But if you break that 150 minutes down, a course of 5 days, that's about 30 minutes a day. So for women, especially in that luteal phase, never more than 30 minutes, just because, our bodies, like you mentioned before, we're trying to work on at that time whether or not an egg was fertilized. We're trying to work on decreasing our estrogen. And if you are someone who struggles with excess estrogen, or not, your body doesn't do a good job with releasing the estrogen, then that excess estrogen can cause stress. It, responds or communicates with the stress hormone cortisol, and an elevated amount of cortisol can keep or signal to the body, hey, don't lose this fat right now because we're in a heightened situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if, like, especially during that time, if we feel like we're going so hard, but we're not seeing results, it's because of this. We're going too hard for our bodies right now, and our bodies believe that it's under stress, so it's not going to lose the weight. It's going to store the fat that it needs and, keep it for, quote unquote, survival time.
Right, right. That is so crazy. This just reminds me of, when Janeway first hits and it's coming right around the corner, and we find these workout plans, and we should follow it every day. But kind of like you mentioned earlier, like, after 2 weeks, if you drop off, like, oh, wow, I couldn't even do this for a month. I couldn't even do this. But it's because your body is going through changes. You're preparing for pregnancy. Oh, but you didn't get pregnant. So now your body's releasing that egg. So your body's going through all these changes. And it's so easy to, beat on ourselves and say, like, wow, like, you suck. And just saying all these mean things to us. Well, and it's not our fault. It's it's just how God created us.
Right.
So we should definitely keep this in mind. And when you guys are watching this, like, if you have to rewind this, because Maia said so much good information, and if you're like, I just need to lose 10 more pounds, like, I truly believe if you start cycle syncing, you may lose that 10 pounds like sooner than you know, because what you're eating, what you're moving, what you're feeling, it's all in sync, which is probably something you have never had in your entire life since you got your period back in middle school, high school. So starting this journey right now today can, like, really change your life.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned the January starting a new diet and things like that. That's such a tricky time. It's such a tricky time because we are, we're going through the holidays already stressed, and then we think that we're about to start a whole new program, rehab all of our old habits into trying something new. And, our, other hormones, that we have flowing through our bodies, that, it can be overwhelming for our system, to try to throw something else on, like, adding a whole workout plan, like you said, working out every day,
right,
cutting all of our carbs that we need. It's just so damaging to our bodies that we have to be aware of. One, just take it slow. Like, I know we want to start things new in the new year. I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but I do have a 30-day program starting in the new year, but it's not at the beginning of the month. It's towards the end of the month, just so people can, have some time to de-stress after the holidays, and, get things in order to prepare and not necessarily jump right into something that's new and can be, challenging for our bodies, our minds, and everything.
Right. I think that adjustment period is so important because we're usually ready to jump into something because we feel so motivated, and we jump in and, like, crap, I'm not ready. And then we jump back out, and then we never really get started.
Yeah. Or the sad thing is, because you are so stressed and you aren't aware that you put your all into this, but because you aren't aware of the state that your body is in, and you do this whole program and you don't see the results, and you wonder why. You think, okay, well, I went hard every day, or I cut all the calories I was supposed to cut, or, that, I think that is a sad part when you do give it your all, but you don't see the results just because, your body is just not in sync yet for it, ready for it.
Well, that's perfect that you said that. It goes right into my next question of PCOS and endometriosis, and I guess any type of hormonal disorder. So I will speak off my own experience. I remember like not too far after I got, not too long after I got diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis, I did have some weight that I wanted to get rid of. And I kept working out. I was going hard, working out. And I did not see the results that I wanted to see. Oh, hey, Maddie. Hey, girlfriend. You see mommy working? Beautiful girl. So I honestly, God, did not see the results that I wanted to see. And I felt so bummed about that. Like, I am working out every day. I'm doing cardio every day. I'm not seeing the results. Um, what do you think? How can cycle syncing help me and any woman with any type of hormonal disorder or PCOS or endometriosis?
I think it's important to note, like we said earlier, just about the excess estrogen. Something I do know, and I'm not a hormone expert yet, but something I do know about women who have PCOS, sometimes they have an elevated amount of estrogen. And it's important that, like we said before, if you are aware of that, that you are trying to detoxify the body. So, eating foods that help flush your liver, probiotics, good for the gut health, also help with detoxifying. That's really important. And I know because, we're so quick to just run to the cardio, and that can just exhaust your adrenal glands. You only have so much reserve for those types of exercises. And that's just not always what's gonna show for the definition or the results that you want. I've noticed with myself, I've seen more, and of course I don't have PCOS, but just how the woman's body is, I've noticed more results with just strength training and lighter movements like yoga and Pilates with the definition and the toning. And because they are lower impact, we don't have to worry about the extra stress that we're putting on our bodies.
Yeah, so that's so good because, like I said, with PCOS, so one of the symptoms that I have, it is so easy for me to gain weight. And it's crazy. I remember, and this is, I want to say embarrassing to say, but I have accepted it. And it's like, it is what it is. But my first year of marriage, I gained 40 pounds. And it's like insane. Like looking back on that, it's just like a crazy thing. But I feel like if I would have got this information 10 years ago, then it would be beneficial for me because, like you said, I can detox the extra estrogen. A lot of women with PCOS, we have high androgens and high testosterone, and that alone can affect, like you say, your mood, hirsutism, whether it's like unwanted facial hair or like a male pattern type of hair growth. And also going back to my weight. So I've noticed because of my hormones and testosterone and androgens, my weight gain is similar to a male weight gain. Like I have a beer belly. And when you think about men, like you think about men having beer bellies, but us women, we should gain weight in our breasts, our hips, our legs. Like, when people say like you got some like baby bear hips, right? Like for me, my weight is more male pattern. So I feel like with this cycle syncing, first I'm supporting myself. Emotionally, number one, which is something I forget so much. Exercise, I'm not putting that extra stress on my body. And I always say I'm not a stressed out person. Like I'm rarely stressed.
Yeah.
But I had to shift that thinking, and it's not necessarily how I feel, it's about how my body feels. And then lastly, what we're eating, because when I'm eating that pizza and fries, like I mentioned in the beginning, like I'm fueling my estrogen dominance. I'm fueling my testosterone. Like I'm wondering, like, why can't I get rid of this beard? Like, because I'm feeding it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like with cycle syncing, it's first I have to be engaged with myself. It's not like this is not a diet. This is a way of life.
This is a way of life.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad you
So,
said that.
yeah, cause so for me, it should be every day. I'm like thinking with my body and saying like, okay, during this phase, you feel this way. I want to move this way. I should eat this. Like it's a whole lifestyle change. So I feel like women with PCOS and endometriosis, this would be so beneficial, especially because stress can help with the hormonal imbalances. So, but with what you've been saying, this can really reduce your stress.
Yes.
Since you're so in tune with yourself.
Yes, and I want to add too, I don't know if we ever hear this, but like, like abs are made in the kitchen. So it's more about what you eat than how you exercise. And with my own business and with the flow protocol that Elisa Vitti teaches is mostly whole foods. It's, limiting or eliminating dairy, which has extra hormones that have adverse effects on our own reproductive hormones.
And it's just inflammatory. It inflames the body. Yeah.
Which leads to bloating, that we don't like.
Right.
And just, getting a variety of, high fibrous foods that we need that keeps us satisfied. So we don't have to run to, the French fry. I love French fries, but, French fries or, breads and things like that, more processed foods. And we can go to, quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes, other starchy, squash and things like that. Things that have high nutrient value,
right,
and that'll keep us fuller, and that'll help balance our blood sugar as well. Because I know that's something, women who have PCOS have an issue with controlling or regulating their blood sugar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you hit the nail right on the head. So 70% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance, and that's also linked to us having a higher chance of getting gestational diabetes and diabetes as well. So you're so right about that.
Something we talked about when you were pregnant and even after, there aren't, another thing I like to think about is intuitive eating. I don't like to have so many rules about food. I know, if you are in a mindset where you do want to lose weight, of course you're going to be, a little more concerned or conservative about what you eat. But in the everyday living, you have to just, fuel your body. If you want to be more conscious, of course, about like, your weight, your gut health and things like that. Something we talked about is when you eat your heavy or complex carbs.
Oh, that's so
yeah. I noticed, and then, our bodies, we can do, everything that's safe. We can experiment. We can see what works, what doesn't work. I had a week last month where I was like, I'm gonna just try this. No carbs for dinner. I have my carbs for breakfast and lunch and see how it goes. Yeah. And I did see 3 or 4 pounds during that week.
Okay.
Right. Just being intentional. And you do have to be intentional, because like I said before, if we're not intentional about creating the meals and eating the way our body needs or moving the way our body needs, then we'll just go to what we know. And what we know is not always the best, or not what we know, or sometimes what's easier. Right. It's so easy to just pop a pizza in the oven. Yeah, sometimes that's my go-to meal, but I can't do it all the time just because I know of the adverse effects that it's going to have, internally and externally.
Yeah. Well, I think what's been super helpful for me, and I think this because your 30-day plan in January starts at the end of the month, because you need this adjustment period. So for me, after learning all this information, I could not just stop what I was doing and eat completely differently. And I'm still in this adjustment period, but I needed this adjustment period because I needed to learn what I like, what I didn't like. So like for me, and this is my mindset around food, because like similar to you, I don't want to have too many rules. Like I personally will eat anything and everything, right? But I have to keep in mind that 80-20 rule, right? Like 80% of the week I should be eating great. But I will not deny myself,
Right.
that cupcake, that brownie. But I will be so intentional, like, all right, I have this brownie. I'm going to drink a ton of water because I want to get rid of that excess sugar in my blood system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had that brownie. Maybe for dinner, I won't have that extra those carbs, the processed carbs. I won't have that bread. And like and it's so important for women who want to balance their hormones, balance their blood sugars. Like, yeah, maybe instead of saying like, oh, I will never like cut out pizza. Have pizza at lunchtime,
Yeah.
and or like that cauliflower crust pizza. Like, find your strategies because if you have those higher carbs early in the day, you're more likely to burn it off by walking, by running after your kids, by,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're doing, walking in your office. So later on in the afternoon, or I should say in the evening, when you're having dinner, you'll have less carbs. So you're not going to be sleeping on those carbs and having that extra sugar in your body,
Right.
hormones in your body.
Right. And I just think of too, just alternatives. You don't necessarily,
Yeah.
like you said, have to cancel out all your favorite foods. We order a lot of pizza from Domino's. Like that's sometimes like every other week, like our Friday, Saturday thing. And some days, like I won't do the cheese. I'll come bring it home, put some hot sauce on it, or however you want to do. Just think about ways that you can modify.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I'll just say this really quickly. Like, I will make cheese pizza at home, but I will add veggies to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like I'm depriving myself of this delicious carb. Like, I am adding stuff to
Right.
my diet. So
Right.
just
That's a good way to put it too. We don't always have to take away. We can add,
right,
mostly just
right.
add in those whole foods, add more of them in, and then you'll slowly realize how your body feels when you do add those in. And then you'll start making the, conscious effort to have more. And then, eliminate things that are not good for your body.
Exactly, exactly. Well, with all this information, I feel like women are going to look at this and listen to this and say, like, this is so good. Like, I'm gonna like try to do something. I'm gonna start cycle syncing. But what do you think will hold us back, hold the viewers back from actually like, improving their health or actually following through with cycle syncing?
I think it's we cannot wait on motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Motivation is so fleeting. It comes and it goes, but in order to be consistent, we have to have a secure why. So why do we want this different lifestyle? Why do we want to be healthier? Why do we want to eat well? Why do we, want to exercise? And I think it's important to definitely be clear on your why. So like for me, my why is my daughter. I want her to see me doing the things that are good for me just because I didn't see that growing up. And now trying to live a healthier lifestyle, I don't have experience to pull from. So I'm just, as most of us are, kind of like trying different things out and trying to see what works. But I want to be a good example for her. A lot of times in the mornings, sometimes I exercise before she wakes up, but if she wakes up, most mornings she'll like grab her mat and come join me. When I'm cooking, I'll tell her about different vegetables and, I don't force her to eat it. If she likes it, great. But if she doesn't, at least she tried it. And then,
Right.
for kids, the more exposure they get, the more likely they are to try different things. Another thing, like we work on like deep breathing. She's 3, so we can do, as much as she allows, but
Right. Yeah.
just, putting those things in place so she can learn from what I'm doing. So, it's like, it's just generational. Like I'm doing it for myself, but I'm doing it for her. And then hopefully she grows up and she does it for her own,
Yeah.
children. So I'm in that mindset. That's my why. And that's what keeps me going and doing it, every day. I know that was a lot, but that was one
That's
reason.
perfect.
Another reason why a lot of people don't get started is because of a plan. You know, I feel like time factors into the plan just because, we think we don't have enough time, but I feel like with a well-developed plan, then we can, organize our time, organize the different meals that we're going to get, organize the different exercises we're going to do, organize, our different routines with, and I equate routines to emotional and mental health because I know for myself, when I have a routine, morning routine, night routine,
Right.
it definitely reduces stress and keeps like my anxiety levels down. So, having a plan for all those things, it definitely, helps you get started. So we definitely have to be clear about our why. So what motivates us, what's going to keep motivating us, even on the days where we don't feel like it. And, having a plan. And if you can't come up with that plan, having someone who can help, like a health coach.
Exactly. Yeah. I think for me, one of the challenges is having that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband, he is like so amazing and so helpful. But in some areas, it's just not his expertise, and he
Mm-hmm.
can't relate to me. Like we already mentioned, he lives in a 24-hour cycle, and I just don't live in that
Right.
world with him. And so, he might be the one like, go hard, go hard. Bro, no, I'm not going hard. You go hard by yourself.
Yeah. My husband did that one day. It was a day I should not have been doing this exercise, and my body was feeling it.
Yeah.
And I think I did like the modified exercise, and he was like, "You need to get up. You gotta do what she's doing." I was like, "I'm modifying, please."
Well, exactly.
So they don't know.
No, we don't. So it's so important. And a couple of things I want to touch on. It's so important to work with someone who is a little bit further into this than you are. Because, well, and honestly, most women looking at this will be behind us, right? Like they don't know this information. You know this information, Maya. So just like touching base with you. And in a little bit, we're gonna find out where we can find you and how we can follow you and get all these cool tips from you and work with you. But that having a good why, having a why is so important. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of women in this community with PCOS and endometriosis or any type of hormonal disorder, like I just want to feel like myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
want to love myself.
Yes.
I don't want to be ashamed. I just want to get pregnant. Like my
Mm-hmm.
why is to build a family. One thing that really touched me, and one of the reasons why I created this channel, because my why is very similar to yours, Maya. I wanted to break generational curses in my family. My mom had fertility issues. I had some as well. I don't want that for a reason.
Yeah.
And even if she does have PCOS and endometriosis, like at least she will have all the tools that she needs to reverse it. Like she does not have to go through 10 years of not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing for your daughter, Maddie. Like when she gets her period, she's not going to be like, ew, what is this? This is so nasty. Like, wow, you're becoming a woman. I don't want to say this, but this
Yeah.
is all good and healthy stuff. So, yeah, definitely having a good why. And also, what I love about you and your plan is that when you say move, like when you move, when you exercise, you like to dance. And so you incorporate that into your exercise. And ladies out there, like if there's something you like to do, then do it. Like don't, like
Thank
you
you
said
for
earlier,
saying
like
that.
do
Mm-hmm.
not make exercise a chore. Like I have to
Yes.
do this because the doctor says so.
Yes.
That's his motivation. Your doctor is not a good way to be motivated. Like you said, Maya, your inner why, you're moving because you like to dance.
Yeah.
And that's
Another thing that I want to add to that, when you say I have to, I heard this thing one time on a radio where you change your I have to I get to. Like we are so blessed with the bodies that we have, the function that we have, and you just think about what you get to do. So I get to wake up every day. I
yeah.
get to move my legs. I get to move my
Yeah.
arms. I get to move. So, you know, don't think it, like you said, as a chore. You want to think about it as something you get to do, the privilege that you have.
That is so awesome. And that's coming from like a mindset of being grateful and happy and joy. Like that's a joy no one can take from you.
Yeah.
That's so eye-opening. Thank you for saying that. I'm
Well.
gonna have to remember that too. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up, but how can we or where can we find more information about you? And do you have any cool events coming up? I think you kind of gave us a tease earlier in January.
Yes. So you can find me everywhere at Becoming Well Together. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, developing on Pinterest. My website is www.becomingwelltogether.com. And like Meredith said, I have a 30-day program coming up in January, close to the end of January, but you will see me beginning to promote it in December. Basically, it's going to be a community. So like Meredith said, the accountability part, a lot of times it's hard to do it by ourselves. And that's where, you know, the inspiration for my business actually comes from, becoming well together. You know, if you don't have the support at home or the support with friends, then, you know, I'm here with you. I'm here for you. The other women that you're going to be working with, they're here for you. So it will be that type of collaborative environment. We'll do weekly lessons, daily check-ins. I'll include workout plans and meal plans, phase specific. So if you're joining this and you, because some people, you know, some people might not be tuned into this yet, and that's okay. So, you know, they can pick and choose what they want to do from the meal plan, from the workout plan. But those who are interested in cycle syncing, I will have those specific to phases. And yeah, so the platform will most likely probably be on Facebook, like in a group setting like that, but it'll be live weekly lessons and daily check-ins for us.
That sounds so good. And you know I'm about to be a part of that too. That
And
is
then
so
if
good.
women choose to continue working with me, then I offer one-on-one coaching, and that will begin soon after the 30 days, so in February.
Oh, perfect. So they can kind of try you out, get it in like in a group experience, and work with you more one-on-one basis.
Yes. So I mean, because you know, health is so broad in general. So you know, some woman, even though you know my pillars are eat, move, and feel, you know, a woman might already have her diet or what she eats down packed, and she needs more support with her exercise regimen, or you know, how she wants to move her body. Another woman might need more help with mindful practices. So they, in that setting, the one-on-one coaching, we can get more specific on your specific needs and how to work with you and get you to your best self.
I love that. And I have to say, Maia has been like my health coach officially, unofficially. And I can just say she is very, very good because she's been very direct with me, but like also supportive at the same time. Like you need someone to say, you know, you need more veggies in your diet. And I showed her my meal plan, and she has said those like very words to me, like you need to add more veggies. And I'm like, dang, you're right. And so she's very supportive. She's very, very, she's a woman, she's a mom, she's a wife. Like she knows what you're going through, what you have gone through. So yeah, definitely check her out. I'm so, so, so excited that you guys stayed with us. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.
All right. Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you.